So welcome back, another video. Today we're going to be comparing the Saturator plugin, which is a plugin that comes with Ableton Live Suite, not the standard version, but Suite, with the Decapitator plugin from Soundtoys. Now you're probably thinking, why are we doing such a comparison? Well, because I want to give people some information before they go out and buy a Saturator plugin to see if the one that's with Ableton, if you've already purchased Ableton, is good enough. And actually, I think it is. I think it's a pretty cool little plugin, the Ableton plugin, but Decapitator is also really, really good. So let's get started. I think the best way to go forward is to actually firstly hear the Saturator. Okay, so you've got this minimum and maximum screen, and I've got a vocal and a few other instruments that we're going to test it on, and we're going to compare it in terms of sound to the Decapitator. Now I've got kind of an annoying vocal, but we'll just go with it for now, and we'll just unclick everything that comes with it, and we'll just listen to the vocal. I'll put the vocal down a bit so it's not too annoying.
Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah.
So we had that sound on hard curve. Now you've got all of these different algorithm type sounds. The two really interesting ones for me are analog clip, and you want to use that with the soft clip on, and the digital clip. So analog clip gives you a simulation of an analog saturator that's clipping in an analog sort of way, so it's not too harsh. Whereas I think digital clip is a bit harsher and a bit more sort of square in terms of how it clips the top of the transients. So let's listen to analog clip, and then we listen to digital clip with and without the soft clip. Start with analog clip.
Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah. I can't believe that you have to leave like this. Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah. I can't believe that you have to leave like this. Lights in the sky, lights
Now
in
digital
my
clip.
eyes, shining so bright, yeah. I can't believe that you have to leave like this. Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah. I can't believe that you have to leave.
So the difference is pretty small, but analog clip to me has a nicer feel to it. So Saturator comes with two different color filters. Now the first one is off by default, and that can be controlled by bass. So let's listen to that.
Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah. I can't believe that you have to leave like this. Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah. I can't believe.
And the second one is when you click color, you get a different filter, but that can be controlled by the frequency, width, and depth knobs. Let's listen to that.
Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah. I can't believe that you have to leave like this. Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah. I can't believe that you have to leave like this.
Okay, so the frequency sets the center frequency of the second filter, which is the one that's switched on, and then you've got width, which determines the size of the frequency range, and depth, which is how much of the second filter contributes to the sound. So you can have a play with that, and they all sound different with the different algorithms that you've got here. And they're all pretty interesting sounding, and they all can make a difference to how the song sits in the mix. Switch color off. You've got drive. Now let's listen to the sound of that. We'll switch soft clip off.
Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah. I can't believe that you have to leave like this. Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright.
So you can increase the drive by 12, having reduced the overall volume of the thing, of the track. And you can then adjust the dry wet. You can even adjust the output. Let's go to the waveshaper curve.
Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah. I can't believe that you like this. Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah. I can't believe that you have to leave like this. Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah. I can't believe that you have to leave like this. Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah.
So there you've got it. All of these are adjusting the waveshaper curve, which is kind of like a custom curve that you can make yourself based on the visuals that you can see here. Let's just flatten this curve out. So this is the number of ripples you'll see on the curve.
Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah. I can't believe that you have to leave like this.
So waveshaper is a really cool curve type. To be honest, it's probably the best one and most useful.
Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah. I can't believe that you have.
Right, so we've heard enough of that vocal. Let's now listen to it on a drum track. Let's listen to Saturator on the drum track. We'll just copy the settings into the drums. Now listen to the waveshaper drum track. Let's listen to it first without. Just solo this track. Just a standard drum. Now let's apply the saturator. So you have an amazing control. What I really like is this window. You can just see so much. You can obviously expand it and make it bigger, and it's just really useful. And you can get a really clean sound. Listen to that. Or you can fuzz it up. So yeah, really useful, really cool. Almost endless sonic possibilities. But the more you play with it, you can kind of see how good this thing is. Let's just copy that onto a different track. We're going to copy that onto a bass, and this should be pretty cool. Let's just listen to the bass sound without the saturator. Let's add the waveshaper in now. Let's start with actually the basic ones with the analog clip and listen to that. There, we rank the sound really wide there. go to the hard curve. And back to waveshaper. So I'm loving waveshaper, by the way, and let's just now try it on a synth track without. Very cool. Now we'll just try it finally on this last track here. This is a keys track. So for something like this, we might want to try something like the sinoid foid. Now let's just listen to that a little bit more. Get the width higher. Let's try a medium curve. Reduce the frequency for this. And we'll try a soft sine. Reduce the drive. Now let's listen to the whole thing together.
Lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah. I can't believe that you have to leave like this. Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah. I can't believe that you have to leave like this. Lights in the sky.
Okay, so that was really interesting. There are no other effects on all of the tracks except for Saturator. There is just nothing else. There's no reverb. These are completely dry sounds. So what I really like about the Ableton Saturator is the visuals and the waveshaper. I think the other ones are kind of like, yeah, they're okay. The other algorithms just do the job for you, but waveshaper gives you a bit more creative possibilities, and it really does sound good. And in terms of the actual algorithms that you see here, they're actually pretty good too. They just do a pretty basic job. Combined with the overall drive, dry wet knobs, output, and soft clip, you have quite a lot of control over your sound anyway, regardless of which algorithm you are going to use, or curve type as they call it. So now let's get back into this, and now let's start comparing it to Decapitator. So let's just go back to that vocal we heard at the beginning and listen to it free again, and we're going to apply Decapitator to it.
Shining so bright, yeah. I can't believe that you have to leave like this.
So let's talk about these models. These different buttons on the bottom. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try and tell you what they mean. They all stand for real life hardware models and they're just different flavors using different algorithms of saturator. I clicked on Punish before. Punish just really just brings it into the red. It just like Drive really, but just adds another 20 dB onto the signal, and it's just useful to get a quick punishment of the sound. Let's switch that off. But what we also have is these different models. So maybe you want to just hear and see which one you like. And that's really the best way to assess these. So let's just have a quick listen to all of them.
Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah. I can't believe that you have to leave like this. Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah. I can't believe that you have to leave like this. Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes.
Next thing we have are the filters. So we've got the low cut, we've got a high cut filter, and we've got a tone that brings us anywhere between dark and bright in tone sounding. So we're going to just hear that for now and see what that sounds like. Now we have thump and steep down. If you've got the thump on, it'll bring a much harsher low cut signal. So let's just hear it off. We're just going to lift that up. Now listen to it up. So for a bass sound, which we'll try later, that will sound cool. And same with high cut. Steep is just a steeper cut into the higher frequencies. Just sounds a bit cleaner if it's on. And this is more gentle. And then we've got dark and bright.
Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah.
I think dark pushes the higher frequencies down a bit more, and tone just brightens it up.
Lights in the sky, lights in my eyes, shining so bright, yeah.
Output is the overall output signal, and mix is the overall mix. And then you've got the drive button. So in some ways, the Decapitator actually has a lot less functionality than the Ableton Saturator, which is really strange because you have to pay for this, and this comes with Ableton. Well, even though it does come with Ableton Suite, so you've got to pay a bit extra for Suite. But overall, what really matters is the overall sound. And for me, Decapitator has a really smooth sound. I love the tone aspect. I love the control you have over high cut and low cut, which you don't really have a lot of with the Saturator. You have to use an EQ with that, which is, I guess, not a problem. And I really love the fact that it's modeled on 5 different styles of hardware. So they're all cool things. So what we're going to do now is listen to it on other instruments other than the vocals, because you get a bit of feel for how it works with other instruments. Now, these are the drums we heard before. Now let's have a listen to those. Different models. We just tried different algorithms. So E sounds a bit sort of smoother, but you've got a big pumping Decapitator in there. The low cut almost removes the low end of the saturator, which actually sounds pretty cool. N sounds almost musical. Right, so that's really nice sounding. on the drum kit. Now let's just copy that onto the bass. Now let's listen to the bass without the decapitator. Now with decapitator. Get that low cut up. Different models. So it sounds cool with A, it sounds really good with P. I wish I knew what they were. I have read them, but the names are just out of my memory at the moment. Let's lift that bass up. And that high cut up. Beautiful sounds, beautiful sounds. And now let's bring that decapitator in to here. Oh no, so we've just done that. Into this piano sound. Once again, off first. Synth sound, not piano. Really nice, just reduce that mix a bit. And finally, we will get it onto that piano. Listen without, with. Most of these sound pretty harsh, but we want to maybe cut the low end out of this. So as you can tell, that sounds pretty nice. Now, we're doing what we did last time, but we've got only decapitator on all the tracks. Now listen to that. Okay, so that's it. That's a comparison between Saturator and Decapitator. So for me, Saturator really wins with the visual that you have with it, and it has a really useful drive, output wet, and some functions in here which do the job. You don't really need to pay for anything else if you've already got Saturator, because it kind of does the job for you in terms of saturation. And it also has really cool waveshaper functions, which I think has a lot of, well, I would say almost unlimited type of sound design potentials in just not just a Saturator, but has a sound design possibility as well. However, for me, if you can afford it and you get it when it's on special for about $40, get Decapitator, because actually just the overall sound and the control over the overall sound is really cool. I love this tone button. It gives you a lot of control in terms of how the sound sits in a mix, which is really important. You don't really have that control in the Saturator other than the dry wet button, which is the same as the mix button. And you don't really have any filters on the high and the low cut here. You would actually need to add an EQ on top of this, but the EQ is the EQ over the whole signal and not over the saturator, which is another huge advantage for the Decapitator. The way you would do that though in Ableton is you would set up a return track, and then you would just plug the saturator into the return track, which we're doing here. And then you would just pull in an EQ, which you would do here from the audio effects. Just pull in an EQ. And then, you know, if you wanted to get rid of the low end of the saturator, you would have it on the return, and then you would just bring in the dry wet signal here. So you can do it. It's just a little bit more of a hassle, but you can obviously turn this into a rack and put it into there. It's not a big deal, but actually, in terms of convenience and simplicity and speed, Decapitator works. It also has this punish button, which just really adds a lot of volume in 2 seconds. Right, just literally click the button and you have loads of volume. So overall, for me, Decapitator is the go-to saturator tool because of its simplicity, its beautiful sound. It's modeled on 5 different hardware algorithms, and it just has a better overall sound. You could hear that when you combined all the tracks that we just auditioned into one song. It just sounded a little bit better to me. But that doesn't mean that the Ableton Saturator can't do the same thing. You just got to tweak it a bit more. And I think it's a little bit more one-dimensional because in addition to having these controls in the Decapitator, you also have the different models to give you different flavors. So for me, it's just the winner. But it doesn't mean Ableton Saturator is bad. So that's it for me. Any questions about this? If you don't think it's a fair comparison or haven't done it right or whatever, please just say something in the comments. I'll be really interested in hearing your thoughts. So thank you very much.
Lights in the sky.